I tried running too. It doesn't work. It always follows.
All due respect, that's your life, not mine.
I'm not so sure about that.
What do you want from me, lady?
Hey, watch your tone, new girl.
You know how they always say it goes back to the original? Here's the original. I want your help. Because you're wrong, this is your life now, which means that whoever this is going to keep coming for you. So I want you to help us kill him.
You want me to help you and the host of a morning show commit murder?
Correct.
Yeah.
You're listening to The Night Before, a movie podcast. Each episode, we find a unique place in the city and share a drink and our thoughts about the movie we watched the night before. This is Lee, and I am joined, as always, by my husband, Jesse.
Here we are, Sunday night. We are at one of our favorite places, back at Seven Sun.
Yeah, it's a little neighborhood around the corner. But you know what we said in our last podcast?
What?
That we were going to get out of our comfort zone a little bit more, go to some new spaces.
We are.
And
Just not today.
And our first official movie episode of 2022 is
around the corner.
At the closest place to our house.
Well, you know, we just got to go with what? This is real life. This is real.
Well, it's a Sunday night. We looked for a bit of places to go, but we tend to skew with the philosophy of, if you're trying too hard, go back to basics. Keep it simple.
Yeah, because it's not going to work out
And
probably.
we wanted to talk about two movies, a double feature, of some movies we saw this weekend. And that we're like, that's the most important thing. Get a drink, go talk about movies. That's what The Night Before is all about.
Right.
Season 2.
Let's do it. So we
2022.
were trying too hard to find a place that would, and we just...
So Seven Sun, we're
we decided
drinking.
to go to our reliable Seven Sun.
They have an IPA on tap.
It's really a new IPA that we hadn't tried before.
Moonraker, Moon Sauce.
Moon Sauce.
All right.
And it's a 8.1.
Yeah. And we're on round 2.
It's really good.
So.
I haven't had a good IPA like this in a while.
Yeah. Well, like our last
like
episode,
a new one
too, we were
that
drinking
we hadn't
out of
tried
cans.
before.
It was all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but it's good. And we've talked about Seven Sun on multiple episodes. The Quiet Place Part 2, one of my bottom 5 for 2021. We've done a couple episodes here.
We have.
That's the one that comes to mind.
It's our local brewery.
And there's 2 locations. One
And
in,
it's
we
comfortable.
should. I was looking today on the Google Maps, trying to figure out where we should go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking in the Dunedin area, and there were a couple breweries we haven't been to.
We haven't done that yet.
But I didn't think we were up for a 30-minute drive tonight.
Not tonight.
But there's another Seven Sun. The original is in Dunedin. So maybe we should do an episode there.
We definitely should. There's a couple places. Remember
Yeah.
that other place on the trail?
Yeah, like maybe it's because it's like an octopus is part of their logo.
I can't remember what the name of it is. It's kind of a weird name, but we've been a couple times.
We'll do that one next.
It's a good atmosphere.
Because that's what we do
too.
on this podcast. We make promises for the next episode that don't happen.
We don't keep, but we will.
For example,
eventually.
This episode is about the new Scream movie.
Yes.
The 2021 or maybe 2022 Scream. When did it officially come out? It's 2022.
Yeah.
And a 2021 movie,
Benedetta.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to do those. But in our previous episode, we said our double feature was going to be Licorice Pizza and Red Rocket.
It's not.
So that one didn't happen. But we tried to see those movies, but the theater burned to the ground.
It didn't burn to the ground. But we had some difficulties actually accomplishing seeing Red Rocket.
And Licorice Pizza initially. So it didn't burn to the ground.
Pizza,
but when we
there was
left,
a fire in the theater.
Yes.
There was a lot of drama surrounding it.
when we
and
left,
we did talk about Licorice Pizza
off recording.
podcast,
Yeah.
off record.
Not on the PCast. No,
but
there was a fire. We did leave Fat Beat Farm.
yeah,
After
and
recording
went
our
and
top
saw
5, bottom
Licorice
5.
Pizza.
We strolled up to the movie theater, and there were fire trucks. People were exiting the theater, like the parking lot, in mass exodus. I just thought a big movie, like, oh, Spider-Man must have just got let out because
No.
so many people are
The
leaving.
whole theater shut down.
So the theater was
So we
shut
couldn't
down.
see it at
we
that
were
moment.
denied entry,
Yeah.
and we went home and we watched a movie called The Lady of the Manor, which was filmed in Tampa, Florida,
Which was really
starring Justin Long.
surprisingly good.
You liked it a lot more than I did,
I did. I enjoyed it.
but I liked it, so we'll give a quick recommendation. It's on Amazon Prime.
It's a good movie. I like Justin Long. It was filmed in Tampa, where we live.
But it was supposed to be in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in Savannah, Georgia. It's filmed in like the Hyde Park
It's a
area
neighborhood called Hyde Park.
of Tampa, which has a more like front porch Southern home type.
Yeah, we won't get
area.
into it, but it's a quirky movie.
It's funny. I think it's funny.
It's written and directed
really
by Justin
good.
Long and his brother.
It's great. I mean,
It's not
not
great,
great.
but it's good.
but it's entertaining.
I enjoyed it. So we
It's
saw
definitely
that
entertaining.
while we couldn't go to the theater, and we eventually did make it our way back to see Licorice Pizza, which I think I liked more than you did.
Absolutely.
But I think
didn't love
We
it.
both agreed.
But it was enjoyable watch.
It was a good movie, but not P.T. Anderson's best.
Yeah, no, I didn't love it.
But I've been thinking about this one. I'm not supposed to talk about Licorice Pizza. You know one thing I really enjoyed about that movie?
What?
Just the pimply, oily complexion of
Yeah.
everyone in the movie.
That's true. That's true. I like the actress. I like her, Haim.
Mhm. Yeah. Alana.
The Alana?
Yeah, let's say
Maybe.
that. Let's go for it. We're not looking. We're not doing any research. And Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Yeah, but I just didn't love the creepiness of like the older woman.
The 10-year
younger.
difference.
Yeah, that kind of
So
creeped
again,
me
we
out.
talked about this on our couch
15-year-old
off
boy.
podcast.
We have two 15-year-old boys.
We talked about this off podcast.
And it's
Listen, if either one of them were as
no, don't
go
there. Don't go there.
no, we're as ambitious and just driven as that, I would have a 25-year-old love
No.
interest. Go for it.
No.
If you're opening waterbed stores, if you are opening a pinball arcade,
No.
if you have your own film production studio at age 15, go for it.
Okay, so we're gonna veer off
Licorice
that
Pizza,
subject
go check it
matter. We're gonna change gears.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm thinking there still might be a Licorice Pizza podcast in our future.
Okay.
Because
we'll have to watch it again.
when it comes to streaming, we saw it in the theater, because right now it's only in the theater. I think when Licorice Pizza hits theater, we have to watch it again.
Okay, I'm up for that.
And we'll book another promise for the Night Before podcast.
I'm
that
up for
Licorice
that. It was a
Pizza
late night watch for
is
me,
still forthcoming.
and I do better when I watch movies earlier in the evening.
Yeah, because we couldn't see it until like 10 at night.
And it was
We felt
late night.
defeated by the theater fire.
Yeah.
It felt like we had to see this movie eventually. So we went home, we watched Lady in the
I
Manor.
snuck coffee under my jacket
Yeah, it's hilarious.
into the theater.
Like a full cup of hot coffee hidden under your jacket.
It worked.
And we still have not seen Red Rocket because that was sort of the last showing. We have this AMC A-lister movie pass type thing. And because the whole fire, one of our movie choice selections got
Very
taken.
upsetting.
But anyway, now
situation.
Red Rocket's out of the theater here, so we have to wait for it to come streaming. So there might be a Red Rocket episode in the future. I can't guarantee that.
We'll see. We'll just play
Because we
by
liked
ear.
Florida Project. That's why we were happy,
did. We
eager to
loved-
see. It's by Sean Baker,
loved
the same director.
Florida Project.
But
But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
so we still took
Those
advantage of our
movies.
AMC pass. Hashtag not an ad. Unless they want to sponsor the night. We'll gladly be. It's the Night Before podcast sponsored by AMC A-listers.
Gladly.
But I think I got you to the theater easier because, hey, we get 3 free movies a week. We get 3 movies a week.
True.
The only thing we really want to see is Scream. Well, there's other things.
Yeah, if we would have had to pay $30 or whatever it
Yeah.
comes out to, and you would have been like, "We're gonna go see Scream," you're like, "Yeah, why don't we just wait for that on streaming.
But it was an easy...
But it was an easy sell. Because
Yeah.
I love going to the movie theater. I just hate the movie theater prices.
Especially with the Dolby experience that we did.
Dolby experience.
Because it was playing in the...
I'm starting to unwillingly understand all this stuff.
Because it was in the special Dolby theater.
Yeah.
With like the fancy... They even give you a trailer.
When something dramatic happens, you can feel the vibration.
Yeah, though it's not a D-box.
It's not. No.
Experience where the seats are supposed to shake. But we noticed just sitting in the Dolby Cinema theater that there's so many speakers lining the wall.
A million.
Yeah.
And
then,
the chairs are really comfortable, and you can
that's
lean
part of
back.
the thing. And they even play you a trailer before the movie explaining why this is such a special experience. And to me, it's a little ridiculous, but
I mean, it was
because if they didn't show it to you, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't understand.
You would just say, "Oh, it's a great," because I think we accept.
No, but when you walk into that theater, you know it's different than normal movie
Well, I'm saying
theaters,
the whole thing is
sure.
set up to
It's
make
very
it seem more special.
It's very nice.
I know, but I think there's some psychological manipulation happening there.
Okay.
I think the difference is marginal based on like a regular digital.
Of the viewing, I'm talking about the chairs and stuff.
I know, I'm saying the whole. I do appreciate it. No, listen. If I have the choice, I'm going to pick the Dolby. We were even rushing to get there
100%.
because we said the Dolby experience is happening at 6:45.
Yeah.
The Commodore pedestrian screening of Scream is happening at 7 o'clock.
Yes. Why wouldn't
so
you?
So we're like, we're going to make the 6:45.
It's not like we had anything else to do. Have be together and watch a movie.
And we're excited because we both are well versed in the Scream mythology, being this is film number 5 in the series.
Well, I wasn't, but I caught up. I knew the actors and some of the main actresses.
Well, everyone knows who Courtney Cox and
Neve Campbell
are.
So I know them.
And
but I wasn't
David Arquette.
Well versed in David Arquette.
I don't think you've seen any of the Screams.
I don't think so. But I knew what they were.
Because at dinner, I said, do you know the basic premise of Scream? And you said...
Not really.
No, you said, yeah, it's...
It's like when all the friends start getting killed off.
Yeah, a friend
of a group.
Yeah, a friend's... And I said, that's basically every slasher movie.
It's not every slasher movie. But, no,
No, because the movie even makes a joke about that.
So...
Like the guy,
no, in our history,
it's funny.
I was not as an avid movie watcher as you were. Even though I really grew up when I was little watching a lot of movies, but in my, I guess, late teens, early 20s, even.
When kind of Scream originally came out.
Yeah, I lacked. I did not I did not watch or appreciate. It's not that I didn't appreciate them. I didn't watch movies as much.
In general.
Just based on that moment in my life.
Which is funny, because that was the moment in my life where I started to really appreciate film. Like it was the Friday, that was even my pitch Friday night. We were eating dinner, an early dinner, because we're older now, so it's like 5 o'clock, and it's a great time to eat dinner on a Friday night.
We don't always do that. We haven't even eaten dinner yet, and it's
No,
late.
we haven't. But Friday night we had, and I said, hey, what used to be the best thing in like late teens, early 20s was go see a movie Friday night.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that's where I got to start seeing movies like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Scream I did not see when it came out in the theater. I have a different story about Scream, which I was going to share with you.
Share with me.
But
I would love to hear it.
But we were sitting dinner, and I said, let's just go see a movie. Let's go see Scream. It's going to be fun. But you hadn't seen, and I don't know if I've seen Scream 4, but I know I've seen Scream 1, 2, and maybe 3.
But I knew the basic premise of the movie. I haven't been living under a rock. I mean,
but the movie even made a joke about that because there's a character played by Jack Quaid, Dennis Quaid's son, Randy Quaid's nephew.
Which, when I realized that, I used to be a huge fan of Dennis Quaid.
Randy Quaid?
Back in the day. Dennis Quaid.
Not Randy.
Not
I don't think
Randy.
many people say they're a huge fan of Randy
Dennis
Quaid.
because he was
But they're
sexy
related.
and
Randy and Dennis are
He
related.
did the Big Easy.
Are they brothers?
They're brothers, yeah.
Learned something new on the
I mean,
Night
one's
Before
hot,
podcast.
one's not.
But it's funny, even before I knew that was Jack Quaid, or
Yeah.
because at the end of the movie we were watching to see who these
What did
people
I
were.
say? What did he look like? Pacey from Dawson's
You
Creek.
did, which they had at Dawson's
He
Creek.
looks just like Pacey from Dawson's Creek, but then your eyes are deceiving you because Pacey can't be that young still.
But you say that, but
Right?
though it didn't mean anything to you. Yes, it's true, but did it mean anything to you? But Skeet Ulrich is in this film.
But they put Dawson's Creek on the TV.
Yeah, because I think it's relevant at the time.
Do you think, though, I know, but do you think they did
No.
that because other people are like, that guy looks like
No, I think it's
Pacey
because
from
it
Dawson's
was.
Creek?
No, I don't think it's because Jack. Though we were thinking it. I think it's more because
That was something that was relevant.
there's a lot of connections to the late '90s in this, and you know what? And it's been so long since I've seen Scream. There might even be something where they were watching Dawson's Creek in the Scream movie. There were so many.
Oh, okay.
There were so many throwbacks
I used to
to
love
the original
Dawson's
Scream in here that I bet if you and I, which I think we should, I think you should see the first Scream. If we went back and watched it.
I would. Do you think the kids would like it? Like 15
Yeah,
and
yeah.
up?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
'Cause
Maybe we should do that with them.
This is my Scream story.
Okay.
Or they might not like it because it's old. It's, what, 20 years old?
We think they're going to like things, so they're like, oh, it's so
25
old.
years old?
Yeah.
Something. So I didn't see the first Scream. But someone I knew worked at Specs Music.
Remember that in the mall.
Well, this was,
The mall?
most Specs were in the mall, but this was a standalone Specs. But you know, when you go in, back in the day when you would go in, now there's still music stores, but back then there were like mainstream music stores.
Yeah.
Everybody went to Specs or Sam Goody or places like that.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of at least one more, but I couldn't.
I'm trying to think of one too that I remember, but it's like at the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it. It starts with like a T or something. Anyway.
Yeah. That's too bad. But anyway, so they worked at Specs. And because they would play movies or trailers for things like we were in the store, they're playing stuff on the TVs hanging up on the wall. And since Specs would also sell VHS tapes and DVDs, she received screener copies. You know, like you watch it and then every 15 minutes a ticker thing comes across the bottom of the screen that says, for promotional use only, screener, not to be sold or rented.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Right.
Oh, because she worked there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But it's meant so, hey, you can watch it so you can talk about it and promote it. So she would give me,
Screener copies.
in the short time she worked at Specs, piles of movies, stacks of movies to watch.
Gotcha.
And Scream was one of them. So I watched
Okay.
the screener for Scream.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's the only time I've seen it, where like every 15 minutes, on a VHS copy, the thing came across the bottom saying, for promotional use only, blah, blah, blah. But though I have a very big appreciation for like campy horror films now, and Teens in Peril.
Teens in Peril?
Teens in Peril is what I call movies. I had kind of written off Scream as like, oh, this is like, it has all these kid pop actors in it, right? Because Jamie Kennedy's in it, and Neve Campbell, as you mentioned, and Rose McGowan is in the first one.
I don't know who that is, but
You know Rose McGowan.
I mean, I would if I saw her.
She
Probably.
was in Jawbreaker. She dated Marilyn Manson for a very long
Oh,
time.
okay.
But so anyway, and it was directed by Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson. But so it was a big deal back then, but I didn't realize it. And then I watched that screener and really loved Scream. So back to like, would the teenagers like it? Our teenagers, probably, if they watch it with an open mind. Like, it's a full-blown slasher film, this one is, the new one is maybe just as gory as the original.
It is, yeah.
Which I thought was good.
Mm-hmm.
But what also made it good was that it was kind of that kind of Scooby-Doo type style thing where you don't know who the killer is, but it's one of the group
solving a mystery.
But it also is a kind of meta conversation about teen horror flicks from the 80s and 90s in general, meaning like, so it revitalized all that, but it also made fun of it, like the tropes. And I felt this one tried to, and some of it we can talk about, I felt maybe was a little
lost,
heavy-handed
or like lost on it, like.
No, I mean, it was hard. I was watching it like, that's what I mean, as the first Scream, as a teenager watching it, like, oh, that's so good, they're pointing out all the tropes in horror movies, right?
But after the 5th time, does it still have the same effect, is what you're saying?
But they tried to up it. Because remember the one girl, one of our main characters, she's talks about...
She's watching the old Scream.
Well, they call it... they call it Stab.
Stab. She's watching the old Stab while the same thing is happening.
No, not her.
Oh.
I'm talking about the main character, the sister, the youngest sister. Where she is talking about how she likes A24 horror movies, essentially.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it does the whole bit. That's the whole bit from the first one. Is
With
Drew
the
Barrymore
phone.
picks up the phone.
Yeah.
And the Ghostface killer is saying, like, what's your favorite scary movie? And she's saying, oh, they're all the same. It's a blonde bimbo in distress. They get killed. And the flip of it on the new version is they say, she goes, oh, all that stuff's dumb. I like elevated horror, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, and she's talking about like A24 type stuff.
It's so funny that she mentioned that. What is that movie, Babushka?
Bana, yeah. Listen,
because I had just.
We haven't seen, neither one of us has seen it.
No, I've never seen it, but
that is a celebrated horror movie.
I knew that. I know that because I had just listened to a podcast that they were like talking about, they were asking the celebrity guests, like, what's your favorite film? And they made a joke, like, and you can't say that movie.
You should look it up.
So it was funny that they mentioned it, because I had just listened to something that referenced that. But that whole phone scene at the beginning, which I knew was a reenactment from the first one.
Yeah.
Not reenactment, but bringing it back.
Which was back then was a big deal because it was Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal. Drew Barrymore was in it, and then it's well known.
Because she was a big actress back then.
But it's the big reveal, like, oh, Drew Barrymore, and then she gets killed within the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. But the thing is, that wasn't as effective, I felt like, because the whole time I was thinking, like, and I know you think this in horror films in general, but I was thinking, I guess it wasn't supposed to be set in today's time, was it?
Scream, the new Scream? Yeah, it's modern day.
So if it was set in today's time, first of all, would you even answer a landline? No.
Well.
B, who has a conversation with a stranger for that long on a landline? Or in general, like, I never answer my phone.
Well, you could even have said that back then, too, right?
No, because back then,
no one had cell phones.
You
answered the phone. But you had caller ID.
Yeah, but you still answered your phone for the most part.
Well, I thought the movie, that's what I mean, as I said earlier, about some of the stuff as a late teenager, I thought was engaging and like, oh yes, someone's saying this. And now as someone in their 40s, I try not to like roll my eyes because I try to appreciate, like when she's talking about, quote, elevated horror, I'm like, oh my God, it's like a high schooler trying to.
But it is a high schooler.
It is, but I'm saying it's a high schooler.
We know how high schoolers talk.
Exactly, so that's why I try not to roll my eyes.
That's how they talk.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's so ridiculous.
Because
like,
you're 40-something. I know. And that is how high schoolers talk. We have them in our home.
I know, when she's
we
talking
listen
about
to them every night at the dinner table.
The elevated themes in horror movies, and I'm like, whatever. But that's something I try not to.
Yeah. So, I thought that part of it was very realistic, how she was saying, like, oh, I like elevated horror. Like,
I know,
thought,
but
like,
it's funny
that's
how
a
you see it
would
now.
talk.
Yeah.
versus
how they see it. Like,
I just felt the fact that she was having this long conversation on the phone, like going into like details about her likes and dislikes and this and that was very unrealistic. I was
it
like,
is.
what teen
But it's
in today's time is going to talk on a landline to a random stranger for that long? Nobody. All they do is text.
It's true. Well, that's the thing. The movie does a great job of throwing back to the original, right?
Yeah.
And it makes that's something. There's a lot of talking about how this is not a reboot or like within the movie itself. It's not a reboot. It's not a sequel. It's a requel, right?
Okay.
Right. Remember, there's that
yeah.
whole monologue about
Right.
what requels are. Like it's a new term now. And how you reintroduce original stuff because you're satisfying the legacy fans and the new fans and the new people. But no, I thought it was interesting. Does she answer the landline? Yeah. Why is she talking on this person? I thought it was clever, or at least they figured out how to make it work.
She's
texting a
friend. Yeah.
Like, oh
that
my
was
God,
clever how
the
they worked
landline
that
keeps
in.
ringing.
Yeah.
And then the friend on the text
Like,
is
answer
saying,
it,
is
just-
that Wes still bothering you?
Oh.
Like a former boyfriend or what? We learn who Wes is later.
Right.
And so then that what prompts her to picks it up, the ringing landline. Like, oh, maybe it's Wes.
Oh, because it's not like also, and that's another thing I didn't think about. At first, when she was there, I thought, oh, she's babysitting, like normal horror movies, like
No,
the
she's
babysitter.
just at home
but
by
she's
herself.
not. She's at home, so it makes more sense why she might pick it up, seeing that she's at home.
Yeah.
She's not at like someone else's house.
And
you
the
know?
friend texting her says, oh, is that Wes bugging you?
Yeah.
And then when it's the Scream Ghostface killer voice that everybody knows, like, what's your favorite scary movie? She initially thinks, because what he's saying, that it's her mom's new current boyfriend.
Oh, right.
Because he says, oh, tell her blah, blah, blah called from group.
Oh, from group.
And then she's being like kind of a nosy, snotty teen. And she's like,
what group?
oh, tell me what group. Is this AA? Is this NA? And then the conversation has started. So I think they did at least, how do you set up, like them, again, you're writing a Scream 5, and you have to, which is in some ways,
move with the times.
it's Scream 1 it mirrors Scream 1 in a lot of areas. How do you get her on the landline for the Drew Barrymore scene?
Right. That was good. Yeah. That was good. I get it. I get it.
So anyway,
but I still kept
we're
thinking,
30 minutes
why
into
in the world would she talk to this creep for this long?
We're 30 minutes into our podcast here,
Okay,
thereabouts,
sorry.
and we're
We gotta move on.
We're 5 minutes into the first film.
Okay. We gotta move on.
But I'll say this. Like, I like Scream more than I thought I would like Scream.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I did. I liked it. I don't love slasher type. I don't love violence. Like, violence is hard for me. It's hard for me to love. It's hard for me to love a movie that's that violent.
It's true, but you know what?
Except Neon Demon. I like Neon Demon a lot.
But
and
I
that
was
violent.
I was surprised. I was like, I'm sitting in the theater. I'm like, wow, this is like a full-blown slasher.
Yeah, it was.
And I was like, maybe I've forgotten how gory. But that's the thing. Scream 1 was gory. There's certain scenes I remember in it that I was like, oh yeah, Scream is. That's what caught my attention when I watched that promotional screener. Was I was dismissive of it, and then I watched it and I loved it.
Yeah.
Because it was gory, it caught you off guard, and it was, though smart. It's one of these things. It's silly and smart at the same time, and I felt this one did a pretty good job at that.
It did.
This one's corny, but
I think it brings in like new audiences and old audiences, or the old audiences, because of the actors like Courtney Cox, David Arquette,
well, like
Neve
watching
Campbell.
scenes of like David
I really liked seeing David Arquette and Neve Campbell and Courtney
watching
Cox.
David Arquette and Courtney Cox like cry
as they used to be married couple, which was weird.
But like seemingly bad Lifetime movie scenes with the two of them, like teary-eyed and crying at one another about because even the Scream movies, they had a relationship.
Yeah.
But seeing them, and then also seeing Nev Campbell like as the badass heroine.
Well, I loved that. I love Nev Campbell. I've always loved Nev Campbell because I was in love with Party of Five. And so I loved her in general. And then seeing her as like a grown-up adult like me, I really liked that. And then her being like a badass heroine, I liked that too.
Yeah.
Her character was probably my favorite one. And you know what? I really enjoyed the main character too. She did a good job.
Oh, who played Sam? Sam Carpenter was the character's name.
Yeah, she did a good job.
So she's sort of like the new Nev Campbell, if you will.
Yeah. I liked her. I mean, I think she did a
And there's
great
a
job
neat
of
scene later in the movie where it's Courtney Cox, the Gail Weathers, the Sidney Prescott character. So the kind of two legacy OG Scream characters. And then the new character, Sam. Like all three of them lined up together. Like,
yeah.
And you could say a lot about female empowerment and just like this sort of, this. It was a neat little scene where like it paused for a minute. It's the three of them standing there, bloody and holding knives and guns and
just going for it.
Yeah.
I'd say the part of the movie that I did like that was a little more because I don't love slasher movies, but I like psychological drama. Like horror, psychological horror, I guess. So the little piece of psychological part in the movie that was like them trying to get her to believe that her sister was the killer. Where she was like
tied. Too much spoilers about any of that, but no, I agree.
Yeah, so I liked that aspect of it. I thought that was clever. Like, I know it was like anybody could be the murderer and all of that, but the flip of the.
Well, that's what was good about it.
I did like that
it
psychological
did a good job,
part
like
of it.
part of the Scream thing.
For the like family stress kind of storyline in it.
Yeah.
Between the sisters and whatnot. I liked
that
there was a little deeper storyline to that than just
there's some sister drama
what
for sure.
friend killed is the killer.
But it does a good job of like, hey, the killer's among you.
Yeah.
Who is it? And so while you're watching, that's why I did enjoy that. While you're watching it, you're thinking, you're trying to piece together like, who do you think the killer is? And I had pegged one of the killers from the beginning. My thought was like, oh, it's this person, no question. And it turned out to be true, but it was still very, but the other killer did surprise me. Out of the two.
Yeah. Well, you just kind of gave away the ending.
No. It's known, as they even say in Scream/Stab, there's always two killers.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, I'm not a veteran.
Well, if you know Scream 1, there's two killers.
Okay.
They even do that in the first 5 minutes of the movie. They say, when she's on the phone, there's always two killers.
Yeah.
Because Skeet Ulrich is in the first one as the main killer. No, but I'll say what I also liked. I was kind of just going along with the movie. I wasn't loving it, but I was enjoying it. But what's so hard, I think, in a lot of movies we see, usually the third act, the final third of a film, is where films usually kind of fall apart. And I felt that was where this movie was its strongest.
Yeah, for sure.
And so
And that's what I'm talking about, like the psychological parts come in, the, Courtney Cox, David Arquette part comes in.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, finally, this movie's getting really good.
The women empowerment comes in. Like, all of it comes in towards the third act.
I was like, finally, this thing's getting there.
Yeah.
And so you forgive the first 2/3 because you're like,
no, I agree.
Because I think the first third is the weakest.
I didn't like.
No, this is I don't see this on your top 5.
It's
at
not
the
going to
end
be
of
on
the
my
year.
top 5 at the end of the year.
It might even make your bottom 5.
But
Let's
it
be
was
honest.
No, I don't think it'll make my bottom 5 because it was enjoyable.
Okay. So
I
same.
mean, it's not a mank. I'm just kidding.
No. But so I think I was pleasantly surprised. I think we should circle back. I don't think I've seen Scream 1 since that screener viewing. And I think you would enjoy it. Maybe we'll watch it with some of the teenagers and see how that fares. But speaking of possible top 5, bottom 5s, we're also going to talk
Yes.
about...
Benedetta.
J'apprends qu'une de vos sœurs a endommagé des bobines de soie et que vous avez pris sur vous de lui administrer un châtiment.
Non, révérende mère.
Non.
Je n'ai pas voulu la punir, j'ai voulu lui faire mal.
Vous avez voulu infliger de la douleur à l'une de vos sœurs, délibérément.
Oui, délibérément.
Ce n'était pas par malignité.
Si vous me dites que c'était par malignité, je saurais que c'est vrai.
Mais vous ne connaissez pas vos propres sentiments.
Il semble que non.
Bartholoméa a-t-elle fait quelque chose qui vous ait fâché?
Non.
La détestez-vous pour quelque raison?
Non.
Avez-vous de l'affection pour elle?
J'éprouve de la compassion, oui. Pour toutes ses souffrances.
Y compris celles que vous lui infligez?
Oui, mais le père Ricordati dit que les souffrances nous guident vers Dieu et nous rendent plus forts.
Ready.
Yeah, so if one movie was ultra violent and gory,
Benedetta was gory.
was it?
Yeah.
I was going to say, or let's go the other extreme where something
I mean, a little bit.
is extremely graphic
Graphic, yeah.
would be the term.
Yeah.
If one's about violence, the other, this is about sex. So you have sex and violence.
Yes, definitely.
Right? So Benedetta,
I liked it more than I thought I was going to.
Right?
I mean, I did. It had been on our radar for a little while.
We're halfway through this movie, and I'm watching, I'm like, this might be one of the greatest movies I've seen in a long time.
I was glued to it. And it wasn't just because of the sex.
No. I think the sex...
No, because I'm not just sex in a movie, just for sex in a movie, I don't love.
No, I'll be honest. In this case, I think it makes this film almost even more captivating.
I thought
You know what it reminded me of?
the way...
The Handmaiden,
Yes.
but better.
So I thought it was a very, more liberating, empowering, sexual scenes.
Of course, yeah.
Than you normally see in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that you felt... I mean, the women looked beautiful and sexy and...
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't, everything I read about it talks about it being lesbian this, lesbian that.
Well, it's about lesbian nuns.
But I didn't see it that way.
No.
I really did not see it as lesbian this or that. I more saw it as awakening of sexuality because not the one nun, but the other nun, Benedetta, she has no sexuality. She's been a nun since she was a little girl.
Yeah.
So it's really the awakening of her sexuality. It's not oh, she's realizing she's a lesbian or she's forming the identity of her sexuality. I think it's more just an awakening of her sexuality in general.
I don't even know if it's awakening. Yes, sexuality plays a huge part of it, but what I liked about it was, I think you can make the argument of this isn't even a film about sexuality.
I think there's
two. It's an intriguing film, I think, about a Messiah complex.
Yes. Yeah.
Is what I thought was more.
No, I think there's two main themes going on. But
where the Handmaiden, you come away with the Handmaiden, and I go, oh, this is about sexual liberation. The Handmaiden, a great film.
Right. Yeah.
That has strong lesbian undertones.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That one is just constantly about sexuality, right? This is about the oppressive Benedetta is about the oppressive nature of religion and the suppression of sexuality.
And wait. And the thing is, with the sexuality aspect of it, though, The Handmaiden and this movie, again, I can't even relate it to lesbianism more than, if that's a word, more of the sexual oppression. That these women aren't deciding that they're lesbian. They are like deciding that, oh, wait, sexually, it's okay to feel good. I don't think it really even matters if they're with a man or a woman. Like, they've been oppressed sexually in The Handmaiden by men.
Yeah.
So...
See, that one was much more sex, like, gender dominated.
Like,
I agree with you.
She's been oppressed just by the church. I mean, she's not had sex because she's in a convent.
Yeah, my feeling is it's potential that Benedetta, it's more just about sexual liberation, regardless of gender.
Regardless of gender. I think both of them could be regardless of gender, where Handmaiden is more because they've been oppressed by men.
So I think when we saw last night in Soho, we saw the trailer for this in the theater.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't remember that. But
And Paul Verhoeven, who wrote and directed this, he's known for doing RoboCop, Showgirls, Basic Instinct.
Right.
So
I loved Showgirls when that came out. That was
I've never seen
loved
Showgirls.
that
I've
movie.
never seen it. I realized I've not seen many Paul Verhoeven films.
Showgirls was one of my favorite movies back in the day. I don't know
that's
why,
Paul Verhoeven.
but I need
Same
to
guy
watch it again to figure out why, but it was.
Well, good news for you. I've been thinking I need to, like, Paul Verhoeven is like a gap in my film viewing. I've seen RoboCop, obviously.
So you could reinvent the greatest movies of all time where y'all did all the directors, all their movies.
Paul Verhoeven should be a director.
Yeah, the director that you choose for the next.
Because I've seen I've seen RoboCop. I've seen Hollow Man, but I don't think I've seen many of his other films.
Okay.
But anyway, we saw the trailer for this. But he's also, but I bring that, as you kind of know, with Showgirls, he's known for just kind of being a little more over the top and out there.
Yeah.
When it comes to violence and when it comes to sexuality.
Was like a big deal in Showgirls.
Well, because it was
Yeah.
Jessie from Saved by the Bell.
Right. And she was like a stripper. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, so we saw this, so I was intrigued, and the trailer's even over the top. All the images are over the top of the... I think even in some of the posters / images for the movie Benedetta, it's of a nun, and you see, like, her breast exposed.
Yeah.
Kind of like, as you see in the movie, a statue of the Virgin Mary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Similar. So I was intrigued, but then you're like, is this just some, like, weird, like you said, like, perverted lesbian nun movie?
Right. Like, yeah.
But then it's also popping up on everyone's top 10 list for 2021.
Yeah.
It's in French. It's technically a foreign film.
Mm-hmm.
And, but back to the point, it's loosely based on a
True
real
events.
Story of a nun who was put on trial or investigated for having relations with a female.
Blasphemy, I guess.
Well, blasphemy, but then also having
relations with a female
another nun.
Whatever. But I think really at first she's called out for blasphemy. Like, she's saying she's seen Jesus and is talking to Jesus, and she's Jesus' wife and whatnot.
She has visions of Jesus.
She has visions.
She has erotic
dreams.
She has erotic dreams about Jesus.
Yeah, and that Jesus is calling her his bride and his wife.
Yeah, and she has the stigmata. Where
according to her, that's what they're calling her out for. The blasphemy is
some of the nuns feel that she's
causing the stigmata.
She's cutting herself to
have
the wounds of Jesus. But even in the movie, they don't tell you. That's what I love about the movie. They never tell you. They never take a side of, is Benedetta truly?
Is she a reliable narrator? Is she? Well, not?
She's unreliable. Right? Is Jesus really acting through her, or is she cutting herself Is she changing her voice?
I didn't feel they were more calling her out for the lesbian relations than
No, that's
for
what
the
got her.
blasphemy.
Well, that's what was interesting about it was, yeah,
There was like two things going on.
she's an unreliable narrator. And even as the viewer, you're never 100% sure on the stigmata side. Is she doing this stuff? Is it an act? Is it not an act?
Well,
The
I thought,
lesbianism, it's pretty clear.
she's doing, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
She's being tempted, and you feel like, okay, she feels like this is her test. She's being tempted. This is her temptation, like with, in her religious life.
Well,
like
it's not even that, right? I never saw it as temptation.
I did.
I saw it
sure.
more as, well, she got, because, what is her name? Like Bartholomew?
Bartholomew or something.
The young woman who shows up at the convent.
Bartholomew or something like that.
Escaping.
Prostitution. Well, escaping a...
No, it's like incest.
Incest. Her dad is having sex with her.
And her brother.
Abusing her and her brothers.
Yeah.
She said.
So, but then she exposes to Benedetta, like, this more free, open discussion about sexuality and, heck, just bodily functions in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because when, like, there's a whole scene where they, like, go to the bathroom together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But all of that, and like I said, to your point early on, it's less about lesbianism or homosexuality. It's more just about sexual awakening.
Yeah.
And just awakening of, like, your own self. Like, you're not this, like,
just by the book person. You're a human.
You're not suppressing who you are.
Right. And when you're in a convent, you're suppressing who you are. Since she was a little girl, she's been there.
And you get
since
punished
she was a little girl.
if you break free from that mold.
And to have someone kind of question your, should you be feeling something? I mean, as a little girl, and when you see naked women, it's not like, I mean, that's intriguing. It awakens your sexuality just by seeing other women naked. It's not that you're necessarily attracted to them or whatever. It's just part of your awakening as, like, a woman.
Yeah.
In general. And I think she was having that as an adult woman rather than as a teenage girl, when normal teenage girls might have that. And it definitely wasn't. That's why I think it's strange that.
Well, so through all that, through her sexual exploration, and through her claims of Jesus talking to her and having visions, there's this whole thing about the plague. So she becomes. So those are the things
so
between.
the plague is going on in
So
history
amongst the nuns, she's
causing the plague because of her sins.
To view it, to say a modern day term, they all see her as sus, right?
Sus.
Yeah.
True.
So some of them don't like it because they think she's cutting herself for the stigmata. Others don't like it because she's having sexual relations with another nun. And all of that brings her under fire. And then it opens up a whole new thing, just of the hypocrisy of the church in general, the powers that be.
Well, yeah, because even, like, the older woman with the daughter is like, don't even bring it up. Like, don't even speak what you feel. Don't even, because you're going to, I mean, the consequences back then were so severe.
Yeah.
That to speak your mind or speak the truth, what you felt was the truth, was death. You know?
So I think for all the things that this movie's wrestling with, right? It's like you can go two routes for this, right? You can go the old school traditional Ben-Hur style film, or you do the Paul Verhoeven, just over the top, in your face, over dramatic storytelling of it. And I think that's what really helped it. Yes, there is a ton of nudity in this film.
And sexual
scenes. Acts. But I don't think any of it is erotic or like you're watching it, and it does fuel the film in a way. I don't look at it and say, "Oh, this is Paul."
Erotic. What does erotic mean to you?
Meaning just doing for the sake to be like, "Oh, this is two women."
Just to sexually exploit lesbianism or
yes.
women, or it's like, oh, women being
that
together
sexual
turn
fantasy.
People on.
Oh, it's two nuns.
Right? No. I don't think it's that.
Two nuns.
When I think of the word
naked.
erotic, I think it's definitely sexually.
Meaning meant to be X-rated or.
I think it is.
Or perverted or.
No. I don't think it's perverted or X-rated or any of that. I think it's erotic in like a good way to show a woman's like pleasure she can get, like, but I don't think it's X-rated or kind of thrown out there.
That's
for
what
no
I'm saying.
reason.
You see it like, oh, this isn't a lesbian nun exploitation film.
It puts the point in place. Like, she is having a sexual awakening. Like, she is realizing that, and the pleasure she's getting is completely condemned by the church.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, then we even see later where sexual devices are used as a form of torture as well.
Yes.
But I think the other piece of it too is you can also, like I said at the beginning, you can look at Benedetta as this Messiah complex gone wild. Because even her relationship with the other female nun is one-sided. That's what I'm saying. That's what's so much different than the Handmaiden. Handmaiden's this sort of love relationship that gets built.
This is not.
Benedetta, there's narcissism in here. There's this.
This is just her awakening. This is for her advancement in
herself. She doesn't really care about anyone.
No.
But herself.
No.
Which I thought was interesting too, is just this, where, like I said, a lot of it's ambiguous, but she truly believes she is this.
But then I don't want to talk about the ending, but the ending is significant.
But the ending, you almost see it coming too. Like, the ending goes one of two ways, which we don't have to spoil it.
Is the ending narcissistic or is it not? Is the opposite of narcissistic? If we're, you know what I mean? Like,
I think it 100% plays into the Messiah complex, martyrism.
Oh yeah.
All that.
It does. You're right.
Which you could say many narcissists view themselves as martyrs.
Yeah.
As well.
For sure.
But without saying how it ends, this film only ends one of two ways, and both serve the purpose no matter which way it goes. She either gets burned up or she raises to this sainthood state in her mind.
In her mind.
And either way, no matter what happens to her, live or die, she is a martyr and a saint.
True.
And you could say that for sexual liberation. You could say it for Messiah. I mean, early on in the film, her and even some of the town people begin to think that she is this, like, Messiah messenger, direct link to Jesus. Mm-hmm. And she believes it.
She believes it because she's having visions.
Or does she just know what it takes to get people to believe her?
It's true.
Like, do you exploit the system?
Yeah, I didn't think that through most of the film. But, like, I thought, I mean, to me, it was believable. And there were certain parts that I questioned, but I felt compelled to be on Benedetta's side most
Well,
of
of
the
course,
time.
because the performance is so good as well. The funny thing is, while I was watching it, or even afterwards, whether it was, I just felt like it was every time, since the sexual acts were so questioned and amongst the people in there, it felt like we were watching Bill Clinton testimony,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. I didn't think about that, but
No, meaning, like, have you ever, like in the
Oh.
movie, have you ever participated in sexual acts or inappropriate sexual acts? Or have you ever had lust for this person? And they would always come around it a different way. Like, I've always had love
her.
for this person, or
Yeah.
et cetera. And doesn't mean it felt like Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Can you define what the word "it" means?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, because there was a whole trial in this film.
Right.
And I thought that was funny, that questions and statements were never directly answered or made, even in this film, which I thought was good because I love the ambiguous nature of it. Because even as you're watching, you're not even, you're making sense of it all.
Yeah. You're figuring it out as you're going.
And I equated it to the Bill Clinton trials.
I did not think of
The
that.
impeachment
but-
trials of like, what does the word "it" mean? We know where clearly he had sexual relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. But though I do not think that was probably Paul Verhoeven's intent to mirror that, I couldn't help but make that connection during the trial in this film of that, just that the ambiguous nature of everyone's answers.
Yeah, I agree. I like that you kind of left it up to you to decide what you felt was true or not true. Because even in the end, you're like, well, I don't know. I don't really know. Like, this is based off a true life event. This is based off of things that
very
loosely.
But Benedetta was a real nun.
Just
She
not
had these
things they
real
would have written down in
accusations
history.
about lesbianism, real accusations. She's made claims about having visions about Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And then Paul Verhoeven just took it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Over-dramatized it for the sake of cinema and his style.
And I thought the actress who played Benedetta was really good. Like, I liked her a lot.
Amazing, yeah.
She was great. I liked her character. And even the Bartolom,
Yeah, her love interest.
her love interest, that was really good. She was really good too. Like, I enjoyed the actors and actresses, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to like it.
Same. I ended it, and I
wasn't 100% in, although I was like 75% in.
Before or after, when you saying?
Before.
Like, before going. No, same.
And then once I started watching it, I was 100% in.
Yeah, I
For
had the
sure.
regret that we waited so long to see it.
Yeah, me too.
But
I
now
enjoyed it.
now it's on video on demand, a cheap rental.
See it. Not with kids around, but see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, we can't. So I think 2 movies we enjoyed
Yeah,
very well.
we did.
Um,
It was a fun weekend of movies with you.
yeah.
We enjoyed it.
I'm glad you like Benedetta. I'm glad you like Scream.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't. I can't say it was my favorite movie, but it was a fun
Scream.
Saturday night
No,
movie.
Scream was definitely the fun movie theater popcorn movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Scream's what?
Benedetta was like sit on your couch and watch when all the kids are asleep movie, and you'll love it.
Benedetta is why cinema exists.
Yes.
Scream is why movie theaters exist.
Yes. True. Good.
Yeah.
We can't even cheers right now because we're
We can't.
sharing
We only have
a
one
beer.
glass. We're down to behind the scenes as we wrap up. We sometimes have to break because of battery issues on our recorder. So we got a sour to share.
It's called Pink Dreams.
Pink Dreams.
It's guava.
So we'll finish on that from Seventh Sun Brewery in Tampa, Florida on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
So we can't toast
That
or
was a lot of
cheers.
fun, but cheers to you.
No promises to what our next movie is.
We have no idea. We
But,
just take it as it comes.
But we'll see. All right.
We'll see. Okay.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.